What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the Monster Bass channel. I'm Jeff with Burley Fishing, and I'm here today to talk to you about how to rig every single bait available in this month's Monster Bass bag. Because I also have some multi-species stuff in here, but this is all the stuff that you could receive from the regional bag, depending on what region you're in. And we also have a couple things that you might be getting if you get the multi-species bag as well. I want to show you the ways that I would rig it, give you guys some suggestions, and hopefully you go hit the water and you catch your PB, because that's what we're all about here at Monster Bass. We want to make sure you're having a good time fishing, you're spreading the joy of the great outdoors, and most importantly, you're ripping some lips. So that's what we're going to try and figure out right now. Hey, before we rig all these baits real quick, you guys should consider subscribing to the Monster Bass channel right now. And you can also go check out my channel, Burley Fishing, if you would be so kind, if you like the content. Smash the like, ring the notification bell, do all those awesome things. And come hang out with us live every Thursday night. We go live 4 p.m. Pacific time, and I go live right after that at 8 p.m. Eastern. So you can bounce from this channel to my channel, and you can get a full night of podcasting in. All right, guys, let's dump out these baits. Let's see what we're dealing with, shall we? All right, so let's start with the fun stuff, the Topwater. In this month's box, you're probably gonna get one of these, the Buzz King from Strike King Baits. This is a tri-wing buzz bait. So when I'm fishing something like this isn't too heavy, but it is a topwater bait, and it is something you want to run fast. This is something I'm going to be throwing on my spinnerbait chatterbait setup, which is a high gear ratio reel with a medium heavy rod. It's a little bit longer. It allows me to get a big long cast out there. You just want to bomb this thing out there. You want to run weed lines. You want to run right in front of like pad sections, over the top of tall weeds or grass, over the top of drop-offs. Any sort of change in cover is going to be a good play. And you can run these things through pretty sloppy stuff as well without getting hung up. As far as line, most of my setups, I'm going with a braid to a fluorocarbon or a monofilament leader. And that leader section could be anywhere from 6 to 12 feet. It depends on the day. But let's just say it's like a 6-foot leader. With topwater, I'm going monofilament because it floats. Fluorocarbon's gonna sink. It makes it tough for a topwater bait to do what it's supposed to do. So I'd highly recommend that you have maybe a longer, more like that 10 to 12 foot monofilament leader on there, so that this isn't just diving down to the bottom as soon as it hits the water. And again, that high gear ratio is what's gonna help you with these so that you can keep this thing buzzing like it's supposed to on the way back to you at the boat or at the bank. But great bait, something again, throw on that topwater setup with high speed gear ratio reel and just burn this thing through whatever cover or by any cover or paralleling cover that you can, and just fan cast around until you find them. Chances are you're gonna get a blow up here. It's fall, so look for those windier conditions, low light conditions. That's when I love to throw these things around the most. Even when it's raining, great time to throw them too. From there, we go a little bit lower into the water column. So we have the Monster Bass Seeker Series. This is a 4 to 6 foot diving crankbait right here. And then we've got the Excite Baits XB5, which is also in a similar depth range, 2 to 5 feet, shallow diving wobbly bait. It's got a nice wide lip to it, so it's gonna wobble quite a bit. We've got a natural color. We got a nice dark red color. Red is kind of the game during the fall, so this would be a good call out. Both of these I'm throwing on the same setup, which is my crankbait setup. For that, I tend to run my Akuma Guide Select. It's a 7/6 medium heavy, moderate action rod. And I gotta tell you guys, if you haven't thrown a crankbait rod yet and you like running cranks or you wanna get better at running cranks, trust me, go get a crankbait rod. Go do some research, Google it, look up best crankbait rods in your price range, try it out. Because if you want to catch more fish, more importantly, land more fish on a crankbait, you really have to have the appropriate gear. Just smacking it on to one of your random medium heavies, it's like a fast action or an extra fast action tip, is going to cause you some trouble because of these trebles. So these trebles are easy to shake for a fish because they use the weight of the bait here to do so when you have that fast action. When you have a moderate to a slow action, you load the rod a lot more and you can play the fish. It's better for the fish, it's better for you, it's better all around, so consider switching it up. I'm also gonna run these things to true depth by running a longer fluorocarbon leader. If you can spool your reel with completely just fluorocarbon, it's gonna run at an appropriate depth. If you wanna run braid to leader, which is what I do, that's fine. understand that you got to go a longer leader if you really want it to get down there. Otherwise, with a short leader, it's not going to go to the depth it's supposed to. This 4 to 6 is going to end up 3 to 4, right? Which isn't that much of a difference, but if it's the time of year like right now and fish are suspending at a specific depth, you're gonna miss fish. You wanna know where your crankbait is going and where it's running. So just set up with the right gear, be smart about it. Personally, gear ratio, I like to go a little bit slower on that, like a 6:6 to 1, but you can definitely get away with something right up the middle, like a 7:3 to 1 gear. So I'm throwing these with an SLX DC right now. That is my crankbait reel of choice at a 6:3 to 1 gear ratio, and I think it works just fine. And again, these are great for just covering water. So I'm gonna throw something like the Seeker when I'm just seeking, get it? That's where the name came from, all around at this depth in the water column, 4 to 6 feet. And you can start from the bottom, so I can run this in shallow areas where this lip is literally just running across the bottom, just dragging across cover and rock and ticking the top of weed lines and things like that. That's a good option to go with. With something like this, I want to smack it into cover. So I'm looking for some tree cover, some riprap, some rocks, boulders, whatever I can get. I want to run this thing through that stuff. These also tend to be working a lot better in hard bottom situations. This is something I like to throw in the river a lot more. And this would be something I throw in the lake a lot more, just covering water. That brings us to our Lipless here in the Jimi Hendrix color. That's right, that's what it's called. It's pretty sweet. Lots of chartreuse and green and orange, which I love to see this time of year. Actually, all year. I love chartreuse all year. But this is from Castaic. This Lipless is fast sinking. It's a 1/2 ounce. It's pretty darn heavy. Comes with a split ring and 2 different line tie options, which gives you slightly different action and different running depth options to go with. I would just run it as is from the start, but switch it up if I'm seeing it's not quite doing what I want it to do. With a Lipless, or you could consider it more like a ripping style bait, you're gonna let it just fall to the bottom. It's gonna kind of like flutter and vibe on its way down, and then it's gonna hit the bottom, and then you're gonna rip it up, right? And do the same, just cast and retrieve like a yo-yo action. You've probably heard guys talk about that before, but bomb it out there as far as you possibly can. Lift that rod tip all the way up to bring that bait up, rip it off the bottom or rip it through weeds, works really well. And then just let it fall again, all the way back down. Once you get a little slack in your line, boom, do it again. And then you can also straight retrieve it. So choose your running depth. These are kind of fantastic this time of year because you can let that thing go down and you can just run it at whatever depth you want. Try the countdown method. It's a 1/2 ounce. It's gonna sink really fast. So it's kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4. And that should give you a rough estimate of how many feet down in the water column it is. So let it go down where you want it to. And then a nice slow retrieve or variable retrieve is a good idea. Again, you're covering water and you're covering much more water as far as water column depth goes with something like this. I'm throwing it on my crankbait setup again, which with a slower gear ratio from a 6:3 to 1 to like a 7:3 to 1 general range is going to give me a lot of options and a lot of fish catching opportunity as I'm covering a ton of water. Great way all around just to cover some water. All right, next up we had a ton of plastics. So I've already rigged up a few of them and I just want to show you what I got rigged here in a second. But we got the Big Bite Baits Coontail, which is like a nice 4.75 inch, almost 5 inch ringed worm plastic. Tons and tons of action. Almost as much action as you can possibly give a plastic. Then we got one of my favorite baits in the bag here, which is the On The Spot Baits Little Baby Brush Hog. Little 3-inch brush hog bait and what they call dingleberry, but it's like a brown and purple. We've got the Slim Swim Mayfly Reaper color, 3.3-inch swim bait. And then we've got the good old classic here, the Ned Ocho from Strike King. This one coming in a split color pattern, green pumpkin and big blue flashy color there, which is Okeechobee Craw. All right, so I've already rigged all 4 of those and I want to show you guys what they look like here. My choice for the Coontail seems to be the obvious one, but that is Shaky Head. Got here a Super K Jigs white head shaky head. I like these because of the round head shape. Means that they are way less snaggy, especially when it comes to rocky situations. So I can throw these in the river anywhere I want to, no issues whatsoever. And you can also actually throw them in more weedy cover, like on your lakes, right? And in your ponds. So lots of options here. Rig it as straight as you can. It's actually got a decently like thick body to it. pretty thick ideal rigging sections. So most shaky heads will have like a twist lock here. So you just twist lock that thicker head section and then you just roll this bait up. And in order to get it as straight as possible, I kind of like to just bury the hook and that'll give you a very nice straight look there. And then when a fish bites, it's gonna rip on through. These little ribs also kind of help prevent you from snagging up on weeds, which is kind of nice. Solid setup there. It's going to have an insane amount of action, especially due to this little bulbous section here at the end. So that's going to look really good on the bottom. Setup wise, not super important with this one, I don't feel, in my personal opinion here, but I'm throwing it on like any sort of medium heavy fast action setup, which means fast action wise, when I get that bite, I want a more sensitive rod, by the way, as sensitive as I can get. When I feel that bite, which for us here in Michigan this time of year is pretty subtle, like you just feel a little doot, you got a fish on there. I want to be able to set that hook, and with a fast action, you're getting hook penetration right away. I might even go extra fast action with that. But just medium heavy setup, whatever your go-to rod length is and company, go for it. And then just a standard gear ratio like 7:3:1 will do you just fine. I like to go braid to fluoro with these types of things, as well as what I'm going to show you in a second, because fluorocarbon is invisible in the water, or next to invisible. So it gives you a nice finessey presentation. The next three I actually rigged up all on the same exact thing, which came in this bag. So recently, Monster Bass has dropped their own EWG Ned Rig jigs. And you guys should definitely check these out. They're pretty sweet. They come with different colored heads, so you can change it up. I personally, in my bag, got black and blue. So you can see right here, we got that dark colored head to it. And I like these a lot. EWG Ned heads are fantastic because you can rig them weedless. And these saber-tooth Ned heads from Monster Bass can be rigged extra straight, which is awesome to see. So you can see I rigged up the Slim Swim here. Why? Because you can swim Neds too. So I can let this fall to the bottom and look like a feeding or even just a dying or injured bait fish. Just let it fall, let it sit. His tail's gonna do a lot of work underwater there and look really good. And then I can swim it. I can also reel pause it, so I can reel it in, let it swim for a little bit, pause, it'll fall, sit like this, reel it, it'll come up and move again. And I think that is gonna be some pretty good action. I've done that with a lot of smaller paddle tails in the past and had a lot of good luck, so I highly recommend that. This and the next two setups I'll show you, I'd probably throw on a spinning rig, and I'm looking for something like a 7-foot, medium to medium light actually, and that is gonna be a faster, extra fast action tip. So again, more sensitive rod would be ideal, and as soon as I sense that bite, I want to just set that hook and have hook penetration right away. I finesse fish a lot, and that would be kind of my go-to setup. And again, whatever rod or reel of choice is yours, do that. Highly recommend braid to fluoro here as well. High vis braid. So if you can get yellow or white high vis braid in a lower pound test, the lower the pound test, the more sensitive it's gonna be. So I like to go like sub 15 pound braid. Usually I'm gonna rig up like a 10 or an 8 pound braid, which would be my main line. And then I'm gonna have fluorocarbon leader on there, which is gonna be like a 4 to 6 pound. And with something like this, it's a little bit of a heavier hook, so I'm probably leaning heavier. I might even lean more towards like an 8 pound fluorocarbon leader just for this guy right here. Just so I, again, don't get too many break-offs. Which, by the way, your connection knots, you guys, go look up the Alberto knot or the FG knot and start practicing. Just practice, practice, practice. Choose your knot of choice. But those two would be definitely the stronger knots out there as opposed to like a double uni or something like that. Those are both great braid to leader line knot options for you. So there's a Slim Swim on the Monster Bass EWG Ned. Then I got two options that seem to be meant for this rig. Check that out. So we got the Baby Brush Hog here from On the Spot, and we got the Okeechobee Craw Ned Ocho from Strike King. Bam, boom. Dude, I love this Baby Brush Hog. That's so sweet. This is gonna have an insane amount of action. I like the color. I'm leaving it rigged this way because I'm gonna go throw this like real soon. And then I also love this split colorway, so you could flip flop it if you want to. I don't think it matters too much with these split down the middle ones. And this is personally why I like their swirl colors. So if you guys get a choice with the Ned Ochos, if you go pick up more, obviously, whatever you get in your bag, you get in your bag. But if you get a choice to go pick up more, look for the swirls. They got a ton of cool colors there. There you go. So that's the Ned Ocho. Boom. Baby Brush Hog. Boom. Again, same setup as I was using on the Slim Swim. Spinning rod and reel setup. Go for that medium, medium light. Medium light's personally my favorite. 7 foot gives you good castability, and then high-vis braid to fluorocarbon leader. All right, so then we got our multi-species baits. We got 2 plastics in here. One is from Widowmaker, the little crappie minnow. And then we've got the shad-scented different breed lures. Pretty nifty little tickle tail style plastic there. Luckily for rigging purposes, we also have included here some Lucky Strike crappie jigs in a 1/32 ounce. Personally, my favorite weight to go crappie fishing with. 1/32 ounce is a really good weight for a jig because when you cast it out there, you can get a little bit of distance. It is ultralight, it's tough to cast, so spinning rig, ultralight setup, lighter line, easier to cast. And then once you get it out there, the 132 is gonna sink really slow, and that's what the crappie are gonna gravitate towards. So panfish and crappie are gonna attack that thing. You'll feel the bite, might be a little sensitive. Again, that's why you go ultralight to light setup. Just set the hook, you're good to go. All right, so first up, I want to show that different breed lures. Looks like that. It's got this little different section up top, and you can actually just trim this bait however you want. So personally, I like to stay downsized when I'm ultralight fishing. So I ripped that section off. And what we end up with is a nice little tickle tail in chartreuse with some blue and green flake. I think that looks juicy right there. This is all you need. Go cast this out in your local pond. You're gonna catch some panfish for sure. And then, if you wanna get a little more aggressive and swim something around, throw that Widowmaker. This is June bug in chartreuse, so you got that nice dark color contrast, which I think looks juicy as all heck. And again, you got that tickle tail. So they're gonna eat this thing up. Don't worry too much about the length. Again, I trimmed the other one. That's just a personal preference. But crappie, they got big open mouths. They're just gonna munch this thing. And they'll also go after little tiny shallow diving cranks and jerkbaits. So this little tiny guy right here is from Go-To Lures. This is the Shimmer Shad. So super shallow diving. You see how shallow that lip goes right there. Sexy shad color, good go-to, lighter days. This is gonna do great. Good option to be thrown around. So if you see some panfish and you wanna hit them on a crankbait, you can throw something like this out there too and have some good luck. All right, you guys, there you go. That is the bag, as well as some bonus multi-species baits. So if you're looking for how to rig these and like what rod and reel setup and line setup, hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. What I want you to do now is grab your bag, go hit the water, go catch a PB, and gosh dang it, have fun. Because that's what it's all about. All right, if you guys liked the video, be sure to subscribe to Monster Bass, and if you'd be so kind, go check out Burley Fishing and subscribe to me. I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Consider smashing the like on this video, ringing that notification bell so you can see when we drop more content, and then come back Thursdays. Again, we go live with Monster Bass, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then right after that, I go live over on Burley Fishing, so come join me and my buddy Paul as we talk to some of the coolest people in the fishing industry. Thanks again for watching. Hopefully you're having a great day, and we'll see you out on the water.